Let me tell you something. Your potential is tired of waiting for you to take it seriously. Every single day you delay, it grows more silent, more distant. You've got something powerful inside you, but potential means nothing if you never activate it. You don't get trophies for what could have been. No one celebrates the almost. The world honors those who show up and put in the work, those who train, not just talk. Your potential is like a rocket sitting on the launch pad, full of power, full of purpose. But until you fire the engines, it's just sitting there, wasted. You can't wait for the perfect moment. That moment isn't coming. The perfect time is now. The right time is the one you choose when you finally say, enough. I'm done waiting. I'm done wasting. I'm done making excuses. Because let's be real, you already know what you need to do. You just haven't committed. Are you training like a machine or just dressing up like one? You see, it's easy to look the part. Anyone can wear the right shoes, post a gym selfie, talk about discipline, but talk is cheap. Results aren't built in your words, they're built in your work. The machine doesn't post, it performs. It doesn't ask for attention, it earns respect through consistency, through action, through grind. The question is, are you really about this? Or are you just checking boxes, going through the motions, hitting it hard one day and then ghosting the next? A machine doesn't care how it feels. It shows up and executes over and over again. No drama, no doubt, just duty. Let's get real. Pretending gets you nowhere. The people who win in this life are the ones who go all in. No backup plan, no safety net, no pretending, just full force, relentless pursuit of what they say they want. So if you're not training like a machine, ask yourself, what are you training for? Approval, comfort, or purpose? This world isn't slowing down for your fear, your self-doubt, or your laziness. Life keeps moving with or without you. While you're hesitating, someone else is putting in the reps. While you're sleeping in, someone else is building their dream brick by brick. Opportunity doesn't wait for the perfect version of you. It waits for the one who shows up ready, hungry, focused. You don't get to hit pause on your life. You don't get to skip the hard parts. If you keep pressing snooze on your potential, don't be surprised when you wake up one day and wonder why nothing's changed. The world doesn't pause. So why should you? Don't get it twisted. This isn't just about your body. This is about your life, your mindset, your future. How you train in one area spills into every other area. You think skipping your workout only affects your health? It affects your standard. And your standard affects everything. Your discipline at work, your patience with your family, your belief in yourself. Training like a machine means more than lifting weights. It means showing up for everything with power, with focus, with zero excuses. It's about becoming someone who can be counted on by others, and most importantly, by yourself. Because when you raise your standards in one area, your entire life starts to rise with it. So stop thinking small. Stop thinking this is just about a gym. It's about becoming unbreakable. It's about building the kind of person you promise yourself you become. And that journey starts now. Motivation feels good, but it's unreliable. You get a rush after watching an inspiring video or reading a quote, and suddenly you're ready to take on the world. But what happens when the feeling fades? What happens when the fire burns out? That's where most people quit. They're running on fuel that was never meant to last. Let me be real with you. Motivation will not save you when life punches you in the mouth. When you're tired, when you're bored, when progress feels slow and no one's watching, that's when you need something stronger. That's when you need the machine mentality. Machines don't get hyped. They don't need a spark of inspiration to turn on. They operate on one thing: commands. They run systems, not feelings. And that's what separates the consistent from the chaotic, the champions from the quitters. You don't need another motivational video. You need a protocol, a system you follow no matter what. That's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you unstoppable. Too many people are stuck in a loop, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to tell them it's okay to go all in. Let me tell you something. Machines don't wait for green lights. They move forward because that's what they were built to do. You weren't put on this earth to beg for opportunity. You were built to create it. If you keep waiting for approval, waiting for the right time, the right energy, the right support, you'll miss your entire moment. And it'll be no one's fault but yours. Think about the greats. Muhammad Ali didn't ask for permission to be great. He declared it. Serena Williams didn't wait for someone to validate her. She trained like no one else. And the world had no choice but to notice. They became machines in their craft, relentless, unapologetic, purpose-driven. So why are you hesitating? Who are you waiting on? The only permission you ever needed was your own. Flip the switch. Start the process. And don't stop to ask for applause. Discipline isn't about how you feel. It's about what you do, especially when you don't feel like doing it. Every day, your emotions try to hijack the wheel. One moment you're fired up, the next you're dragging. If you let feelings decide your future, you'll live in a loop of starting strong and finishing nowhere. But a machine doesn't stop when it's cold. It doesn't stall when it's raining. It doesn't care if it's Monday or Sunday. It runs, because that's what it was programmed to do. You got to build yourself the same way. Discipline isn't sexy. It doesn't always feel good, but it works. It's the engine that drives results. It's the quiet force that pushes you when no one is watching and nothing's going right. The question is, are you running on emotion or execution? If you want results, you got to do the work, whether it feels good or not. Because every time you follow through when it's hard, you're reinforcing your identity. I am someone who finishes. I am someone who does the work. I am the machine. Let me ask you something, and don't dodge the question. How many more promises you're going to break to yourself? How many more Mondays will come and go without action? How many more goals will you write down just to abandon them when they get uncomfortable? If someone else lied to you the way you lie to yourself, you cut them off. You say they're toxic. You say they don't respect you. So why do you keep letting yourself off the hook? Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, and you don't, you weaken your own voice. You dilute your own belief. Because deep down, you know when you're bluffing. And that's the real damage. It's not just about missing goals. It's about the trust you're breaking with yourself. It's time to rebuild that trust. And the only way to do it is by doing what you said you would do. Not once, not twice, but over and over until your word becomes law, until your actions speak louder than your doubt. You're not weak. You're not lazy. You're just undisciplined. But that can change if you want it bad enough to stop breaking promises and start becoming your own machine. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present every day. Let me say it louder. Show up. Tired? Show up. Busy? Show up. Sick of the grind? Show up anyway. The difference between winners and wishers is simple. Winners show up when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when everything in them says, just skip today. They show up especially then. Think about it. How many goals have you missed? Not because you weren't good enough, but because you weren't consistent. Talent doesn't win if it doesn't show up. Passion doesn't matter if it only shows up when it's easy. This isn't about feelings, it's about frequency. Because every time you show up, even when it's messy, you build momentum. You teach your mind that you can't be negotiated with. And that's where real strength is born. So stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting to feel ready. You got one job, show up. You are not a feather blowing in the wind. You are not at the mercy of the weather, the mood, or the moment. You are a freight train, heavy, powerful, unstoppable once you build momentum. But here's the thing about a freight train. It doesn't start fast. It's slow at first. It grinds. It pulls with force. But once it's moving, nothing can stop it. Walls don't stop it. Doubt doesn't stop it. Nothing gets in its way. That's how your progress works. That's how discipline works. It's not instant. You don't wake up one morning and feel like a machine. You build into it one rep at a time, one choice at a time, one day at a time. You keep pulling, you keep grinding, you keep moving. But too many people live like feathers light, reactive, tossed around by life. One bad day and they're off track. One obstacle and they're gone. You need to make a choice. Feather or freight train. Momentum is your greatest weapon. It's what separates those who dabble from those who dominate. Because once you get moving, once you show up long enough, discipline stops feeling like a fight and starts becoming your nature. Push through the slow start. Pull until your own weight starts carrying you. And then you don't stop. You can't stop because you're not a feather. You're a freight train. Start rolling. You can have the best engine in the world, the sharpest mindset, the clearest goals, but if you stop showing up, you start rusting. That's what inconsistency is. Rust. It eats away at your progress when you're not looking. One missed day, maybe it's not a big deal, but 2 days, 3, that's when it spreads. That's when the machine starts breaking down. Don't let small slips turn into full stops. Because here's the truth, momentum is power. When you're locked in, when your routine is dialed in, when you don't have to think twice about showing up, that's where the magic is. That's when progress compounds. That's when confidence explodes. Momentum is what keeps the fire alive long after the spark is gone. But it's fragile. And once you lose it, getting it back is twice as hard. You felt it before, haven't you? You missed a few days. You feel off. You don't feel like starting again. And suddenly the voice in your head gets louder. Maybe I can't do this. That's rust talking. You want to live in cycles of starting over. You want to build layer upon layer, brick upon brick, day upon day. And that only happens when you protect your momentum like it's gold, because it is. Keep showing up, keep stacking wins, keep the machine clean. Let me challenge you right now. No fluff, no soft edges. Can you go 90 days? No excuses, no off days. Just relentless effort every day. Show up, execute, repeat. I'm not talking about perfect performance. I'm talking about perfect consistency. You miss a morning, you make it up at night. You feel tired, you scale back, but you still do something. You don't wait, you don't explain, you don't hide. You show up. 90 days of war. That's what I'm asking for. Because most people quit after 2 weeks. They give up when life gets loud. But you're not most people. You're building something different. You're becoming someone different. This isn't about the gym. It's about your identity. Who you are when no one's watching. Who you are when it gets hard. Do you have the guts to go 90 days? No cheat codes. No, I'll start again Monday. Just pure, unfiltered discipline. If you say yes, then say it with your actions. Because this isn't a motivation talk. It's a challenge. Are you in? Let me tell you something. Your body doesn't move unless your mind tells it to. Every lift, every run, every hard decision starts in the mind. That's the command center. That's where victory is won or lost. You want to push your limits physically? Then you better start preparing mentally. Because your muscles don't matter if your mindset is weak. You can have strength, but without mental grit, you'll crumble the moment things get uncomfortable. Look at the champions, the elite athletes, the top performers. They're not just physically gifted, they're mentally relentless. They've trained their minds to keep going when everything in them says stop. They've mastered the voice in their head, the same voice you hear every day, the one that says, take it easy. You have to train your mind like a muscle, push it, strengthen it, build focus, discipline, clarity. Because when the mind is solid, the body will follow. Every time. Your thoughts are not just passing ideas, they're code. And if that code is corrupted, your system, the way you act, the way you train, the way you live will crash. Let me put it simply. If you're constantly feeding your brain with excuses, fears, negativity, don't be surprised when you start underperforming. You're programming yourself for failure. It's like running a powerful machine on broken software. It looks fine from the outside, but internally it's lagging, glitching, misfiring. You've got to clean the code. You've got to debug your thoughts. Catch yourself when you say, I can't. Erase it. Replace it with, I'm not there yet, but I'm getting stronger. Catch that whisper that says, take a break. Replace it with one more set. Every single thought matters. Words are seeds. What you plant is what you harvest. And don't think this is just motivation talk. This is neuroscience. Your thoughts create patterns. Patterns become habits. Habits shape your life. So don't just train the body. Update your mindset. Rewire your thinking. Clean the code. Every single morning, there's a war going on inside your head. Two voices fighting for control. One voice is soft, comforting. It says, sleep a little longer. You've earned a break. You can skip today. The other voice is tougher. It's raw. It says, get up, go now, do what needs to be done. The soft voice sounds nicer. It always does. But that voice is your enemy in disguise. It wants to keep you safe, small, average. It wants you to avoid pain and stay in your comfort zone. And if you listen long enough, that voice wins and you lose. But the second voice, that's the voice of growth. That's the machine inside you trying to fight back. And every day, you get to choose which voice wins. This war is universal. Navy SEALs go through it. CEOs go through it. Champions go through it. It never goes away. But the difference is winners train themselves to choose discipline over comfort. So tomorrow morning, when that alarm rings and the voices rise, don't hesitate. Silence the soft one. Answer with action. Because the second you delay, you've already started losing the battle. You don't need to win once. You need to win daily. Because every morning is war. And you decide who leads the battlefield. Let me give it to you straight. If you don't take charge of your thoughts, they will take charge of you. And they won't take you where you want to go. Thoughts are powerful, but they're also sneaky. They slide in silently, disguised as logic. Just one day off. You've already messed up. Why bother? You're not built for this. And before you realize it, they've hijacked your momentum. That's the danger. Not the loud, obvious doubts, but the quiet, believable ones. You need to be the gatekeeper of your mind. You need to be vigilant, ruthless. Just like you wouldn't feed poison to your body, stop feeding garbage to your mind. Look at someone like David Goggins. That man didn't rise from failure to elite status by listening to self-pity. He owned his thoughts. He flipped the script. He turned pain into fuel, weakness into war. You can do the same. Next time you catch a thought that tries to slow you down, speak back to it, out loud if you have to. That's not who I am. I'm in control here. I train my mind. I lead my life. Because if you don't control your thoughts, they will control you. And if they control you, your goals, your growth, your greatness will always be out of reach. Take back the controls. Drive the machine. Everybody loves to talk about goals. My goal is to lose weight. My goal is to get stronger. My goal is to be more disciplined. That's fine, but goals without systems are just wishes. And let me tell you something, wishes don't win. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the strength of your systems. Think about it. A goal is an outcome. A system is a process. A goal says, I want to run a marathon. A system says, I'm going to run 5 days a week no matter what. The system is what gets you across the finish line. The system is what shows up when motivation doesn't. That's how machines operate. Not with dreams, but with routines. Pre-programmed, locked in, non-negotiable. If your system is built on discipline, consistency, and grit, then results are automatic. Not easy, but inevitable. So stop obsessing over what you want and start focusing on how you'll show up every day. Build a system that survives fatigue, stress, boredom, and setbacks. Build a system that can't break, and neither will you. Machines are built to follow a code. If this, then that. They don't skip steps. They don't improvise based on feelings. They execute. You're no different. The rituals you create are your personal code. Wake up at the same time. Move your body. Eat like you give a damn. Train, read, reflect. These aren't just tasks, they're rituals, anchors, identity builders. But here's the truth. Most people build weak rituals, inconsistent routines, unclear commitments. And when life gets chaotic, those weak rituals fall apart. You need unshakable rituals, not 50 things, just a few, done with power and precision. Rituals that set the tone for your day. Rituals that signal to your brain, I'm in control. Because when your habits are automatic, excuses don't stand a chance. Look at elite performers, Kobe, Jocko, Jordan. They had rituals like clockwork, practice at the same hour, prep the same way, show up whether they felt like it or not. Their code became their edge. You want discipline? Don't wait for it. Ritualize it. Your body is hardware. Your habits are the software running on it. Outdated habits, broken code, poor routines, no matter how strong your hardware is, you won't function right. You ever wonder why you fall into the same traps over and over again? Same procrastination, same skipping workouts, same mental fatigue. It's not because you're weak. It's because your system is outdated. It's time for an upgrade. Start with the small things. The way you start your morning, the way you talk to yourself when it gets hard, the choices you make under stress. These are not small, they're everything. You don't need a massive overhaul overnight. You need 1% upgrades daily. Stack them, compound them. Over time, those tiny upgrades make you a machine that runs smoother, cleaner, stronger. You don't ignore bugs in your phone. Don't ignore them in your life. Update your habits. Upgrade your life. Let me tell you something, bad habits don't own you. You're not a victim. You're not stuck. You're the mechanic. And it's time to fix what's broken. Maybe you've been hitting snooze for years. Maybe you've trained inconsistency into your identity. Maybe you keep quitting on yourself when it gets tough. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means it's time for a rebuild. Habits are not identity. They're patterns. And patterns can be reprogrammed. But first, you have to stop making excuses for them. That's just how I am. No, it's not. That's how you've trained yourself to be. The good news, you can retrain. You can rewire. You can rip out the faulty parts and replace them with strength. Like a mechanic working on an engine, you gotta get under the hood. Take a hard look at what's working and what's not. Be honest, be relentless, be surgical. You've got the tools. You've got the power. You just gotta start using them. This isn't about perfection. It's about ownership. You are not a slave to your habits. You are the mechanic. Now fix the machine. We've been taught to run from pain, to fear it, to avoid it. But the truth is, pain is not the enemy. It's the fuel. Pain is feedback. It's proof that you're stretching, growing, grinding through something that matters. And the people who win in life, the ones who break records, change legacies, rise above the crowd, they all have one thing in common. They made peace with pain. They didn't just accept it, they embraced it. Michael Jordan used pain from losses to sharpen his drive. Arnold Schwarzenegger embraced pain in the gym like it was a language his body needed to speak. They didn't chase comfort, they chased progress. And progress hurts, but here's the beautiful part, pain is temporary. Regret isn't. So you choose. Pain of discipline today or pain of disappointment tomorrow. When you feel it burn, don't back off. Lean in. Pain isn't trying to break you. It's trying to build you. Your body is a machine. And every rep you grind through, every drop of sweat that falls, that's what keeps it alive. That's what keeps the gears turning. You ever wonder why the greats don't stop at 10 reps? Why they push to 11, 12, 15, even when it burns? It's not about the number. It's about what those extra reps represent. Grit, growth, hunger. Every time you push through that pain, you're tightening the bolts. You're oiling the system. You're reinforcing the foundation. It's not just physical, it's symbolic. One more push-up, that's you telling yourself, I don't quit when it's hard. One more sprint, that's you proving I control my pace. One more round, that's you becoming something unshakable. The average person wipes their sweat and says, I'm done. The machine sees the sweat and says, now we're just getting started. So the next time you're lifting, running, climbing, don't see reps as numbers. See them as gears, turning, grinding, evolving. You're not just working out, you're building the engine that powers your future. Let me tell you something straight. Comfort is the killer. It's the silent destroyer of dreams, the enemy of growth. And the worst part, it feels good while it's doing the damage. But discomfort, that's the path. That's where you find out what you're made of. You think that tension in your muscles is a sign to stop, is a signal that you're on the edge of growth. You think waking up early and dragging yourself to the gym means something's wrong. It means something's right. Ease is seductive. It whispers, you deserve rest. It convinces you to settle. And the moment you say yes to it, you're drifting slowly, silently, without resistance. But when you choose discomfort, when you run toward the hard things, you start to separate. You start to rise. Because few people are willing to suffer for their goals. Few are willing to push through soreness, silence, setbacks. Look around. The ones who live with purpose, they made peace with discomfort. They made it their home. Not because they loved the pain, but because they loved the result. So choose your hard. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Because ease might feel good now, but it won't get you where you're meant to go. Discipline isn't built in one day. It's built in the repetition. In doing the work when you're excited. In doing the work when you're exhausted. In doing the work when no one's watching. Repetition is what forges identity. Not talent, not hype, reps. Do it again and again and again. That's how legends are made. You think Steph Curry became the greatest shooter because he practiced once a week? He put up thousands of shots a day. He did it until his form was automatic, until the process was unconscious. You want greatness? Then you need repetition. Not random effort, relentless effort. You train your mind to trust you through repetition. You train your body to obey through repetition. You create unstoppable momentum through repetition. Don't just show up once and call it progress. Show up again. Don't just push hard for 1 week and think you've arrived. Push again. Keep showing up until it's not something you do. It's who you are. Because when you repeat something long enough, it stops being a habit and becomes your identity. So don't stop at a good day. Do it again. Let me tell you something. There's a quitter living inside your head. And every time you make an excuse, every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, every time you give in to comfort, you're feeding it. You're giving it power. That quitter loves when you snooze the alarm. It cheers when you skip the workout. It grows stronger every time you choose the easy way out. And the scariest part, you've let that voice become normal, familiar, acceptable. But it's not, because that voice isn't protecting you. It's limiting you. It's holding you back from the life you're capable of living. And the longer you feed it, the more it takes. The question is, how much longer are you going to let that quitter live rent-free in your head? Because it's not just there by accident. You've been keeping it alive with weak choices. It's time to starve it. Strength isn't built when things are easy. It's built when you keep going even though it's hard, especially when it's hard. If you break every time life gets heavy, how will you ever carry what you're meant to? Life is going to test you. That's guaranteed. You'll lose, you'll fail, you'll doubt yourself, you'll want to quit. But here's the deal. You can't let your emotions make permanent decisions. You can't quit just because it hurts. You can't crumble just because it's not moving fast enough. Look at anyone who's accomplished anything. Great athletes, entrepreneurs, warriors. They all had moments where quitting seemed easier, but they didn't break. They bent, they suffered, but they stood back up. You want strength? Then you got to earn it. Through pressure, through pain, through persistence. Every time you choose to keep going, you kill the quitter a little more. Don't run from resistance. Let it forge you. This is not about motivation. This is not some feel-good advice. This is a fight for your future, a fight for your identity, a fight for your discipline, your purpose, your calling. The quitter inside you wants to win. It wants to steal your potential and bury it in regret. And if you don't fight back with every ounce of focus and fire you've got, it will. You've got to stand in front of the mirror and declare war. No more tapping out. No more half effort. No more lying to yourself. You don't need another restart. You need a decision to fight, to commit, to destroy the part of you that always wants to take the easy way out. You wouldn't let malware run on your computer, slowing it down, corrupting files, making everything crash. So why are you letting mental malware run your life? That quitter voice is exactly that corrupt code. It's infecting your system. It's rewriting your standards. It's draining your energy. You've got to delete it. And you don't do that with talk. You do it with action. Every rep you push through when you want to quit, delete. Every time you show up when you're tired, delete. Every decision to stick to your word, delete. Eventually, that voice loses volume. Eventually, it shuts down. Because once you stop feeding the quitter, it dies. And what's left? Discipline, drive, dominance. Everyone wants a shortcut, a tool, a new trick. But you don't need another app on your phone. You need an upgrade in your mindset. Let's be real. No software can fix a weak mindset. No schedule app will keep you consistent if your heart isn't in it. No program will work if you're always looking for an easier way. Your operating system, your beliefs, your thoughts, your standards, that's what runs your life. And if it's running slow, full of bugs and fear, nothing outside of you will ever fix it. You want a real transformation? Then upgrade the system from the inside out. Stop patching holes. Rebuild the entire framework. Discipline, execution, grit, that's your new code. Because beast mode isn't something you download. It's something you become. You don't try to be disciplined. You decide to be disciplined. Discipline is not an event. It's not something you do just when you feel motivated. It's who you become through repetition, through choice, through battle. When you say, I'll try, you leave the door cracked open for failure. When you say, this is who I am now, you slam it shut. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being predictable. It's about becoming someone who can be counted on. Someone who shows up no matter what. That's what separates people who rise from people who stall. It's not that they never struggle. It's that they never stop. Become that. Live that. Not just for a few weeks, for life. You know what's tragic? Staying the same when you were built for more. Most people live their whole lives on version 1 of themselves, safe, average, low risk. But deep down, they know. They know there's more in the tank, more in their soul, more they could become. So why settle? Why stay basic when beast mode is one decision away? Beast mode means you go harder when others stop. It means you expect more from yourself. It means you walk into every room with purpose, with power, with pride. Version 10 you, they already exist. They're waiting. They're built from everything you've been through and everything you're still becoming. But you'll never meet them if you stay stuck in your comfort zone. So evolve, upgrade, reinvent, and never go back. Too many people train for attention. They live for the selfie. They run for the praise. They grind only when someone's watching. But real machines, they don't need applause. They perform because that's what they were built to do. You need to reach a point where discipline is your default, not your performance. Where you're not chasing validation, but building value. Because when your reasons are shallow, your effort will be too. Don't train for the claps. Train for the commitment. This isn't about aesthetics. This is about armor. Every rep, every drop of sweat, every disciplined decision is not for looks. It's for war, for life, for impact. You're building a body that's ready for the chaos, a mind that's prepared for pressure, a spirit that can't be broken. This isn't vanity. This is victory. So stop chasing the mirror. Start forging the machine. When it's all said and done, no one will remember your abs. They'll remember your impact, your resilience, your consistency. This isn't just about now. It's about who you're becoming and what you'll leave behind. This whole journey can be summed up in 4 words: discipline, consistency, ruthlessness, purpose. That's the code. That's the software running inside every unstoppable human being. Discipline gives you direction. Consistency builds your reputation. Ruthlessness silences your excuses. Purpose gives it all meaning. Live by that code. And you don't need hype. You don't need luck. You become inevitable. Stop saying you need more time. You don't need more time. You need a decision. The time is already here. The day is already started. The opportunity is already passing you by. You're not waiting on the world. You're waiting on you. Decide right now to train like a machine, to think like a warrior, to live like someone who refuses to waste another second of potential. Now is the moment. No more hesitation. No more negotiation. Train like a machine. Think like a machine. Be the machine. Because the world doesn't need another excuse maker. It needs someone who executes. And that someone is you.